Good evening and welcome to the Bolivar Board of Education public hearing for our annual tax rate. And at this time, we'll turn it over to Chelsea Aberdan.
Thank you. So tonight we are going to host our tax rate hearing. We will do this every year in August. So today is Thursday, August 21st, and this is for tax year 2025. Do you have to select it?
Click the right.
Right one?
I'll pay for it.
Okay, sorry. So with our tax rate hearing, we have a notice of public hearing. These tax rates that were posted were produced by revenues from the property tax that is required by the budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1 of 2025. Each tax rate is determined by dividing the amount of the revenue needed by the current assessed valuation, and the result is multiplied by that tax rate. The purpose of the tax rate hearing is to review information concerning the assessed valuation of the school district, the proposed levy for 2025, and any revenues that are anticipated for the proposed levy. This is a copy of what was posted. It was posted on Wednesday, August 13th at the Bolivar Rec Center, the Bolivar Courthouse, the City Hall, and then the front doors of ECLC, primary, intermediate, middle school, and the high school. So for the year 2025, our proposed levy that we are presenting is a general revenue, which is the incidental revenue, of a levy of 3.2973. That is a rollback from 3.3439 from last year. That's about 5 cents. This rollback was required this year because our assessed valuation increased more than CPI. So our assessed valuation came in at around 5%, and CPI was 2.9%, so we weren't allowed to take that full increase. The debt rate service, go back, sorry. And then our second levy is the debt service levy, and that has a tax rate ceiling of $1.17. We rolled back 35 cents to set our levy at 0.8227. That is a total tax rate levy for 2025 that is at $4.12, which is the same as last year. Even with property value increases and rollback processes, this keeps our overall rate unchanged from year over year, helping maintain the consistency for our taxpayers. Next. This slide just compares area districts with their tax rate and the revenue that is received. As you can see, there's an assessed valuation column, a tax rate, and then their projected revenue. That's if they had a 100% collection rate. That collection rate amount for revenue is calculated by taking the assessed valuation divided by 100 and times by that tax rate. While you can see that Bolivar's rate is higher than some districts, you can also see that our assessed valuation is smaller, so our revenue is limited compared to others. Larger districts in our area, like Republic, Willard, and Ozark, generate significantly more revenue, even though they have lower tax rates or around the similar tax rates as us. This is the information from last year. This is what our prior year tax levy was at. Compared to last year, as I discussed in the previous slide, we have a decrease in general revenue of 5 cents. Then we have an increase in debt service of 5 cents. It goes from 0.7761 to 0.8227. It keeps our tax rate at 412, as same as prior year to this year. A reason in keeping our tax rate at 412, we could collect more in our debt service because we do have that tax rate ceiling of $1.17. However, keeping our tax rate at the $4.12 is consistency for our taxpayers, but it also helps with the uncertainty around state funding and how that funding formula may change. It also helps with any potential local funding that may be changing down the line. It allows us to keep our tax rate at that 412 and not lower it. If we had kept our debt service tax rate at 0.7761, that is a loss of about $121,000. And then by adjusting the mix between the general revenue and debt service, it protects our total funding and ensures that we can meet our obligations for the upcoming school year. That is our tax rate hearing. Do you have any questions for me?
By lowering the debt service levy, how does that affect our future no tax increase bond potential? Like, does that affect that, like, being able to do another no tax increase bond?
So in this instance, we're basically, the 5 cents we lost in the operating, we're absorbing that in the debt service. If we ever wanted to increase the debt service or move money from the debt service back into operating, we would have to go to the voters for an approval.
Moving those funds from operating Fund 1 balance into Fund 3 increases the payment to the debt service, which will allow you to pay off the debt service earlier and look at your options for a no tax increase bond issue to potentially come sooner
A little
than
sooner.
later. Yes.
And if we hadn't done that, then it would have went away anyways, right? 'Cause we had to roll that back.
We would have lost those funds.
Yeah.
Yep,
lost
we
those
would have
funds.
lost those funds.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. And we lost the 5 cents in the operating because of the CPI, the Hancock Amendment.
Seems like a good way to do it.
And it keeps it at that 412 consistency. We don't lose money there.
Something to think about also is obviously with the recent legislation, Polk County is one of those counties that is capped at 5% for growth on assessed valuation. There are other counties that fell into the 0% growth option, whereas the current rate stays there, and there's other counties where it's not capped at all. And our district falls in that 5% range, which is kind of a hot topic, I think, in Jeff City a little bit right now. But as Chelsea mentioned earlier, that uncertainty makes this option of continuing to stay flat at 412 that much more important to us in order to maintain some consistent funding as we move forward as well.
Correct. Anything else?
This is a public hearing, and therefore we are able to take public comments if there are any. You have 3 minutes of flex time here, folks. Take a breather. Talk amongst yourselves.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have kicked off a new school year and we are excited. And we have a list of commendations and we're gonna start that off with Dr. Goodman.
All right, the Bolivar High School, we have Morgan DeClue was chosen by the Missouri Choral Directors Association as the Outstanding District Director for the South Central District. The BHS Choir Group has had a fantastic year. Most recently, our students were invited to participate in an upcoming choir festival in Carnegie Hall in New York City next April 2026. This is very exciting news for our talented students to get the opportunity to take part of this once-in-a-lifetime musical experience. Congratulations to Mrs. DeClue. At the, excuse me, at the 2025 Root ED Missouri Award celebration held August 5th in Columbia, Governor Mike Kehoe recognized 3 exceptional Root ED advisors for their extraordinary dedication to supporting rural Missouri students as they prepare for life after graduation. Bolivar High School's Elena Shockley received the 110% award for energizing her school with creativity and passion in her first year. She launched themed FAFSA nights, built strong parents' participations, and co-hosted a career fair with Bolivar Chamber of Commerce, ensuring every student feels supported in exploring next steps.
In Bolivar Middle School, our custodial crew has knocked it out of the park this summer, tackling big projects and making our building look sharp. Our ELA teachers spent time diving into the new resource, sharpening their skills to better serve students. And a huge thank you to the high school athletic teams for supporting BMS on open house night, welcoming families and giving tours, which made such a difference.
At our intermediate school, our custodial crew did a phenomenal job navigating all of the ongoing construction at BIS and had our building looking amazing for students and staff. A big thank you to those who gave up part of their summer to deepen their learning around the PLC process. So if you see them, congratulate Jennifer Wooderson, Nicole Grant, Darla Blair, Heather Ingledahl, Ashley Cavanis, and Jennifer Miller. And Kristen Hicks in our music department worked hard this summer to find creative ways to get more opportunities for her students. She had a Donors Choose project fully funded that will supply drums for students, and she also received a grant from the Guitar Center Music Foundation for a class set of ukuleles. A huge thank you to local businesses and organizations who partnered with us to provide lunch for teachers this first week of school. Oak Star Bank provided lunch on Tuesday, First Baptist Church Children's Ministry on Wednesday, PTA on Thursday, and Fired Up Pottery will be on Friday. Vault Coffee is also providing coffee for teachers on Friday morning. We're so thankful for such a supportive community.
Bolivar Primary School, huge thanks to our maintenance team for installing the new kindergarten playground equipment. This was a partnership with the PTA and their fundraising efforts to help provide new equipment. Shout out to the kindergarten, TK, and Encore teachers for hosting a wonderful kindergarten preview day for parents and students on Thursday, August 14th. Parents could ride the bus with their kindergartner and tour the building together. Teachers provided orientation information and were able to answer questions. Congratulations to teacher Ashley Mendoza, kindergarten, and Jennifer Bender, first, who both completed their master's degrees in curriculum and instruction over the summer. BPS partners with local patrons to provide the first week of lunches for teachers. This is in honor of former TK teacher Samantha King, who always advocated for staff to be one less thing to take care of the first week. Thank you to Ryan Pinkston and Barges Pizza for providing the first day lunch for teachers. Huge thanks to First Baptist Church for providing Subway sandwiches on Wednesday. A special thank you to PTA and parent volunteers for providing lunch on Thursday.
Oh, it's me. ECLC, they hosted several back-to-school events last week. They had a successful popsicles on the playground night and had 73% of our families attend. That was on Monday, August 11th. Followed by a fun come-and-go supply drop-off night with 62% attendance on Wednesday the 13th. And lastly, they hosted their first parent orientation on Thursday, August 14th, where families were able to ride the school bus with their child learn about bus safety, and then come in and hear from their child's teacher and the school on all the ways families can partner with their child's school and teacher. Classroom orientation attendance was 56%. A way to honor all the teachers' hard work in preparing and getting their rooms ready for children and families, we partnered with several local businesses to provide a few free lunches and snacks for teachers these first weeks back to school. And finally, Amanda McCullough was a proud recipient of the $500 retired teacher grant. She plans on using this money to help incorporate sensory materials into her classroom and then share and model these strategies for others in the building to implement and use.
Thank you, everybody, for sharing. It's good to have school back in session again. There is a whole lot going on. Do we have any public comments? Not that I am aware of. And at this time, we need a motion to approve our consent agenda.
I'll motion to do that.
Second.
I've got Mr. Thompson on the motion, and I think I heard Mr. Coffey on the second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, moving on to CSIP updates and reports.
All right, so thank you, Mr. Owens, for a great intro as we get ready. We have kicked off a fantastic school year, and we've got a couple of updates as we give our annual updates from different programs across the district. And one group that's already been mentioned multiple times tonight is our grounds and custodial crew. And we've got our Director of Facilities, Mr. Jeff Welch, to give us a quick update.
Good evening. Yeah, I just wanted to start off, just like what everyone else already said about our custodial staff. They're just doing an amazing job getting our buildings back into great shape. There's a lot of work that goes into that, so I just can't thank them enough. But as far as maintenance and grounds, we're busy with our normal maintenance projects. Plus, we removed the old playground equipment at the primary and intermediate school to make room for the new equipment that was installed over the summer. We installed the playground equipment there at the primary school, at the kindergarten area. Got that taken care of. Added pea gravel all over the district. The guys worked on the softball field over the summer as well. There'd been a ridge that kind of built up between the outfield, infield area. They got that taken off, removed the sod, took out some dirt, put the sod back. So got that taken care of. Poured some concrete for the propane tanks at the high school, there for the greenhouse. We sealed bricks along on all the buildings here. All four of the main buildings we sealed the exterior walls. Had the parking lot sealed and striped at the high school. Cafeteria got a new roof at the primary school. That's about all of our big projects. Other than that, it was just the normal maintenance that we do. So, you guys have any questions?
We've done a lot of HVAC work here in the district over the last year.
Everything's in good shape right now.
Seem to be
Yep.
running good. That's
Yep.
good to hear.
As many units as we have, we always have some issues,
course.
but for the most part, no ground source leaks. Everything's pretty good shape. So,
Can't say enough about the work that Jeff and his team do, and obviously just all the square footage that our district has. It takes a lot of manpower and hours to make sure that they're ready for a new school year, and the buildings look fantastic. I think each of our building principals would attest to that, and they've certainly sung the praises of our team. And it's not just in the buildings, but the exterior of the buildings too. They look sharp and they look ready for a new school year as well. And so, huge thanks to all the work that you and your entire team do. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Jeff.
All right, so next up, as again, part of our work around CSIP is making sure that we have school buildings that are safe and secure. And we have our SRO, Scott Hendrickson, here to give an update on safety programs.
Good evening. How you doing?
Great.
Yes, absolutely. I'm happy to be here.
I was excited to learn about this opportunity to share with you some of the things we're doing. But all joking aside, it is kind of, I do want to share some fun stuff. We have a new SRO, Tyler Salmons. He's right back here. He has been excellent to work with. This is his first posting as an SRO, but I see great things. I was able to be on the selection committee on the interviewing of our candidates, and he was our top candidate. We were able to send him to a 40-hour, 1-week-long class in Jefferson City, learning all the ins and outs of the legalities of being an SRO, which are very different and unique from being a patrol officer. And that was an excellent opportunity. Also, I had the opportunity to spend several days just riding in the car, showing him around, just basically the ins and outs of our SRO program, so that he had the keys to success to hit the ground running day one for students. I'm very pleased with how he is doing. Despite this being his first SRO gig, the way he's integrating with faculty and students, he's a self-starter. He's a team player, and I really can already tell that I'm going to enjoy working with him throughout the school year. And I think we have a good, solid person here. So, is that good enough? No, I'm just joking. I didn't bet this with him, but I really am very pleased. I think we have a very good team.
And I'll just add, we're blessed to have both Tyler and Scott in the district. Obviously, Scott's been here a long time and has established himself over the years as someone who does a great job of creating rapport with students and staff and being very proactive. And then obviously having Tyler be able to join the team and with his previous experience, and he's been in schools not just as in other capacities as well, and as an SBU grad as well too. So has some local connections here, and glad to have him back in Bolivar as well. So we've got a great team set up for success as we look to make sure that we have buildings that are safe as we move forward into the new school year.
He has a lot of ties to this area, and he's invested. He has children in this district, and he's very invested. I can tell. So I'm very pleased, and I'm very thankful to be standing here and sharing this with you. Point number 2 I was going to be asked to talk about is our SPO program. We're excited about adding a school protection officer program to our security team for Bolivar schools. They recently completed a very rigorous training program. It's about 120 hours. That, when I went through it as a police officer, it was 40 hours at the range. They have 120. So it is no joke. But despite just finishing that training, completing the training, we're already looking ahead for opportunities to for more training and to integrate and collaborate between myself and Tyler and the SPOs to be able to take care of the things that need taken care of in that capacity to make sure we have a safe school. That's really all I have. Does anybody have any questions? I'm not much of a public speaker, I apologize. But yes.
You may be able to address this, but when are we gonna get some notices up on our buildings?
They are.
I saw one.
They're up.
Have you seen it?
They are up. Now, I'm not saying that they're on every single door, but everywhere I
Not on
look,
every
they're up.
single door. Every entry, every main entry,
Dadgum,
they're
I
up.
have
Even on side entrances, a lot of side entrances, they're up. They look good. Have you seen some of them?
I haven't.
They do look good. I mean, it was like first thing I saw. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Have you seen it? I haven't either.
Look forward to it.
Yep, just go up to the
How large?
front door of any building.
Oh,
you'll see
they're
it.
about yay big.
About this big.
Yeah. You're not gonna miss
Say
them.
about like this?
Front door when you first walk up. Can't
It's
mess
very,
up.
it's very visible.
It's very
Good.
I mean, I wasn't
That's what we
looking for
want.
it, and it was the first thing I saw.
Good.
Yeah, they're very visible.
Yay.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Scott.
It's on a
Yeah,
white
thank you.
And
background.
Tyler,
Scott,
White
thank you.
background.
again,
Lettering.
welcome. It's great to have you on board.
Appreciate appreciate both of you and all the work that our SROs and SPOs have done to ensure that we have a safe school. Obviously, one piece of the puzzle. As a district, we work many levels to ensure that we have a positive and safe learning environment, and certainly they are a very visible presence across the district, and we appreciate the work they do. All right, so next up, we have a reflection back, kind of a look back at our summer school activities, and we have Mr. Cody Gibson and Mrs. Jennifer Miller to give a quick update. Mr. Gibson was over the secondary summer school updates, and Ms. Miller also, even though she was just joining the district, jumped in on the elementary side as well. So we'll turn it over.
Yeah, so I'm reporting for middle school and high school. And really, we kind of look at four things as we wrap up summer school. Four questions that we kind of ask ourselves, and secondary has similar things they're looking for when they approach summer school, similar outcomes we're reaching for. So the first question is about our focus. Our focus at the secondary level is about engaging students, increasing and maintaining enrollment, and obviously at the high school, we help them acquire credits for graduation. And so to that, attendance numbers, BMS last year had 313 students enrolled in summer school. That was the highest number they'd had in, I think, 5 years. This past summer it was 308, so very similar, but their attendance went up just above 80%, and it was below that the previous year, so that was good to see. At BHS 2024, we had 417 students enrolled. This year we bumped that up to 447, so that was another positive for the high school this summer. And yeah, how we're measuring our work, that's another thing we look at. And attendance is one of the things that we will measure to see how we're doing in summer school. We also focus on the number of students at the high school just in their achievement. And that was really well done this summer. Our online classes, the pass rate was 100%, so that's always a positive when they're taking classes and engaging and passing those classes. That's what we're striving for. The next question that we get from central office, the board, is do we have all the tools we need? Currently, middle school and high school say yes, we do. We feel very supported in that. I know last year the question came up about second driver's ed teacher. We can talk about that sometime. There's a lot of layers to that that we found out. We have yet to convince someone you have to go back and get extra hours in school to earn your certification for that. So we're still working through that. We found some people last summer that really in the spring, they were already certified. We had someone secured, but due to health concerns, they had to back out at the last minute. So we're still working through that. And then how can we help? Financial support is the biggest one. Again, we feel supported through that. And at the high school, we never had this, but the younger schools did. And there was a decision made this summer for numerous reasons to eliminate the summer school supervisor, but that was a huge benefit to those schools, and that was brought up by the middle school just to consider that in the future as we move down the line. Any questions about middle school or high school summer school?
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Gibson.
Thanks, sir.
And on the flip side, on the elementary side of things, again, as Mrs. Miller jumped in with her first activities on the Liberator home front, helping to run our elementary summer school activities. Excited to have her joining our team after 6 years serving as principal in Everton and now as the assistant principal at BIS. So thanks for an update today.
Well, thanks for having me. I am reporting for BPS and BIS. Jesse Shawless, the AP over there, was kind enough to prepare their information for me. Their enrollment was 365 students this summer, which was up from last year. They maintained attendance percentage around 78%. They focused mainly on academic growth and kindergarten readiness and helping with community connections through nutrition classes from CMH, as well as they had some water days with the fire department, and they also took students to the park and had some movie outings. They felt like their program was well supported and had all of the staffing and custodial and maintenance needs, and everything ran pretty smoothly over there. So, and then for BIS, our enrollment was around 273 across grades 3 through 5. Our overall attendance was 76%. It was much stronger the first 2 weeks, around 83%, and then it falls off in the last couple of weeks because people go on vacation and things like that. During the morning, we centered on building, reading, and math skills. And then in the afternoon, we offered 11 enrichment courses. And we also provided students with opportunities like Movie Mondays and trips to the rec center and splash pad. Our staff used iReady as well as classroom assessments to adjust and build those reading and math skills. One of the things, like Cody said, is we asked for questions of how we could be supported. One of the things that happened this year was we didn't have our gym for the first 2 weeks due to refinishing, and that's a big hiccup for us as far as classes and course offerings, and we have all these kids in the building and no gym for the first 2 weeks of summer school, so that would be really helpful. Other than that, we're really happy with the way things went. It was highly engaging for our kids, and we had a lot of fun. So, any questions?
What was the reason for not having the gym?
They were refinishing it.
The floor.
Uh-huh.
Is that an annual thing?
It is an annual thing, and that's something that one of the things we talked about as we reflected on the previous summer was how can we tackle that? And obviously, we have a third-party vendor that refinishes the floors, and discussing how we can get on their schedule, and what other options we might have to be able to help mitigate that in the future. Because it's a challenge, and obviously we know it's a task that has to be completed, but obviously everybody's finishing gyms the same time. The summer months are it's a small window to get it done, and so we're working to see if we can try and avoid that next year.
Well, thank you.
Thank you,
Glad
Ms.
to have you.
Miller,
Thank
and
you.
welcome to Bolivar. It's good to
Yes.
have you here. Okay.
That's
We're
it
good.
for
Okay.
CSIP updates from the district perspective.
Okay. Moving on to board governance, we've got several things that we want to be up to date on. First, we have an MSBA regional meeting on September 4th. This year, Nixa is hosting that. And if you have not let Cheryl know that if you are or are not able to attend, if you guys would do that as soon as you could, so she can make sure that we're all registered for the folks that can make that. Does anybody have any questions about that evening?
We've got a great group already that
Okay.
have already committed to it, and
All
looking
right.
forward to going down and making our presence felt as we did last year.
Excellent. Okay. It's been a tradition over the past several school years that each board member kind of takes on one of the schools in the district and just kind of pays a little more attention, visits a little more often, and kind of takes it on as their own. And one of the best things about that scenario is as they get receive more knowledge about that, they can come back and tell us what's going on and brag about and celebrate what's going on there. So we have not yet assigned those. And so as long as everybody's on board to continue to do that, I'd like to get that taken care of now. So here at the beginning of the school year, we can each know what building we will be visiting. So everybody good to continue that first off?
Yes.
Yep.
Good. Okay. Well, let's just go in, take an order here, and let's start with ECLC. Is there anybody that would,
Do we need to double up?
oh, how have we done that? I don't recall. We may need to double up on
I
one.
think you took a couple ones last
facility,
year, so I think we
yes.
do need to double
Core
up.
and BES were doubled up, I think.
Huh?
Core
Core,
and BES that happened to be doubled up.
Or Core and Bridges,
Maybe
but,
Core and Bridges.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But does anybody, let's just throw out, does anybody have a building that they're just, I'd really like?
Middle school.
Middle
I got
school?
granddaughters.
I
Okay.
would like BIS, just kind of
BMS.
follow CC where she goes.
Brad, Jill, we're gonna have BIS, right? And primary,
Yeah, I'll do primary.
Drew,
I'll do high school again if there's no one else. I got 2 girls there.
Dan.
I don't need to follow Milo.
The high school.
I'll hear about it from Jackson.
Okay.
I don't need to follow him. Mm-mm.
We have the 4 main campuses, we have ECLC, and we have Bridges Core.
I'll take Bridges and Core.
I'll kind of give you a background of what those programs are like, so you,
Appreciate that.
since you're a, since
You're
you're
a newbie.
a rookie and wouldn't know.
Spend enough time in
No
Bridges.
experience, no experience.
I'll take the extension school too, if you want, 'cause I was there as well.
Okay, BES and ECLC. Who's Lynn?
I will do whatever you like.
Oh, no, it's,
I'll
no,
take what's left.
no.
That's fine. ECLC is
ECLC?
sure. I like little ones.
I love them too.
Give me BES.
No, I don't have one yet, so I
Oh.
need one.
Then
But,
take,
but come on over
Okay.
anytime.
invite me one day.
Gotcha. That's a plan. I know a place we can get pizza. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. We look forward to our visits because they're always awesome. Vector training. You should have received an email, which is required training for all school employees, I believe, including the school board. I happened to notice mine the other day and actually had time to do it on the spot, and that's rare for me, and I got mine done. So anyhow, if you have not completed yours, check your school email, and there should be a link there, and it's really easy with your passwords right there, and you could log right in. And that is a requirement, a state requirement for us to complete that. Any questions on vector training? Okay. All right, folks, we're starting something new. As I was considering, summer is an interesting time in the school district because it gives you pause to reflect on the past and vision the future. Now, being a retired educator, I come from a unique background, but I thought to myself, how often does this group of people talk about learning? I mean, the ultimate reason why we are here. How we talk about a whole lot of stuff, but how often do we talk about learning? Now, this is not designed to add a bunch of time to our meeting in any way, shape, or form, but I brainstormed that, and I've come up with a set of short conversations to prompts, maybe, questions, for us as a group to talk about, so we always remember the biggest why of why we're here. There's all kinds of whys. You got to have your financials in order. You got to have a safe school. There's all kinds of reasons why we're here and decisions we have to make, but how often do we talk about learning? Not the results of learning, but learning itself. So, each month we're going to take a short amount of time to do this. So, I have a prompt for my colleagues today, and I'm going to ask if you want to make a comment, try to summarize it in about a minute so we don't just go on and on here, okay? So, today's prompt is, did you have a teacher in your K-12 experience who made a significant impact in your life? And if so, briefly share what it was about that person that contributed to your education. How did the influence this person had on you impact learning? And, as a good teacher does, I'll kick this one off. But be thinking about if you have one you'd like to share. And I'm going to do it in a minute. Here it goes. 6th grade, Terry Thomas. First real male teacher, right, that I had in the 70s. Okay, I'm old. Mr. Mudd. Imagine that name. Middle school foreign language. Taught us Latin, French, German, Spanish. Greatest pure teacher I ever had. High school, Bill Shelley, my auto shop teacher. Not because of auto shop, but because of who he was. And I ended up coaching his son in Little League and youth soccer and became a friend of the family. But they all had an impact on me and were inspiring and made teachers real people who cared and caused me to want to do better. That's my story. Brian?
Elementary, Mrs. Smith at Rolla Elementary School. Junior high, Mr. Toner, the principal. only SWAT I ever got came from him. High school, Mrs. Sharp, I had every social study class that she taught, reason I went into social studies. And Ron Hobson, who I had for PE, but he was also my high school baseball coach, the reason I coached for as long as I did. So all four, and he was also my driver's ed instructor, which remains to, we'll just keep that one to the side. But those four were the reason why I chose to go into education, 100%.
Wayne Clark. Some of you guys might know Wayne Clark. He was my accounting professor at SBU, and he is the reason why I graduated finally with my accounting degree, because he let this unwed mother bring her baby in its stroller to my classes whenever Isaac was sick and I didn't have daycare, or if I couldn't afford daycare that week. He's a big part of why I'm at where I'm at in life. He's a good man.
That's awesome.
I'll go back in intermediate school. Used to be a thing called Frogs program, where it was a 3rd and 4th grade combined class. And I was blessed to have Mrs. Stanley and Mrs. McDonald, and didn't really like reading. Believe it or not, math was my little bit stronger subject. Don't ask Dr. Garber. In 6th grade, he may have said differently. But they both put a love for reading back in 3rd and 4th grade, and so many teachers and coaches I can remember, and then thinking about freshman year with Mr. Bayless, just he had such an energy to teach grammar that, again, was not my strong suit, but really made it enjoyable. And then countless coaches, I mean, so many coaches are still here in our district today that I'd go way over a minute if I named every one of them, but I mean, a dozen coaches that I just could speak on and on about that still have those relationships when I see, and the great bond we have after that. Thank you.
Okay, I'll go. Primary school, Lou Kemp, my kindergarten teacher. She instilled discipline and education in me from the beginning, thank goodness. I was a little bit of a pistol, but she corrected me and made me better. So I also have great with the likes of Grace Pursley, Billy Hutchison, Emma Franklin, all who went through Bolivar schools and taught were still classic ladies. Some are gone now, but great ladies, influences on my life. High school, probably Teresa Lindsay. She was my business teacher in high school. She was young, fun. I thought she was cool. Probably got in the biggest trouble I ever got in by a teacher, by her. But she changed my life because she made me have a passion for teaching and teaching business, which I did for 25 years because of her. So very thankful for that. I also had Mr. Jones in English, great English teacher. I didn't think so when we were doing 150 sentences and had to fragment them and all that business, but he taught me grammar and spelling and did a great job. So, but lots of classics that still live in the community and have retired from here. So
A lot
very
of familiar
thankful.
names there.
Oh yes.
Thank you for sharing.
Not always positive, but hopefully some positive.
Oh, they have good things to say about you. I've heard some.
I could talk about several, honestly. Two of them that stand out in my mind. In middle school, I had a teacher by the name of Mrs. Walden, and people that know me now wouldn't believe this, but I was very quiet, very reserved, and I would never hold my hand up. And she was asking questions that particular day, and she called on me. And for some reason, call it a gift of God. I don't know what happened, but I knew the answer. And all the kids turned around and looked at me. And she was, I have to tell you, she was so encouraging and kind of helped me to come out of my shell, you might say, a little bit. And then when I get to high school, there was a teacher by the name of Rosemary Owens. I don't know if any of you knew her, but Rosemary thought she saw some potential in me, in vocally speaking, and so she really encouraged me to pursue that. And back in those days, she was very much involved in creating musicals, full-blown musicals for the school. And so you either chose sports, which I was active in sports, so you chose music. There was not enough time to do both. And so with her encouragement, I chose music. I went on to major my first 2 years in college in music. And ultimately, I switched over to business, but I still enjoyed my music career. Wrote 2 songs, one for each of my daughters for their weddings, just different things like that. The bottom line is that just as these people have said, teachers make such tremendous impacts in your life. And you need to reflect back on that as to what they did for you personally. But that's just 2 of many.
Thank you.
I guess I'm the one that hasn't shared all. I don't know if we're all supposed to share.
You don't have to.
But I'll just say the first one that came to my mind was Miss West, my 5th grade teacher. But she was very strict and had kind of a reputation of being mean. But I don't know. You can tell how much she cared, and she was able to get a lot out of me. Like I struggled with my writing at the time, and she was just really on to me and just helped me pursue excellence. And anyway, she got a lot out of me and helped my writing a lot. So, Miss West.
Well, thank you, everybody. And this month, it was just kind of a generalization, and we'll get a little more detailed as we go through this. But I think it will benefit us to help us continue to focus with all the other things we talk about, the most foundational reason of why we're here, which is learning. And ultimately, our job is to support that process. So anyhow, thank you, everybody, for contributing. Okay, moving on to strategic planning.
Yeah, so as we look at our strategic plan, and obviously we have amazing teachers, but we also have, 400 educators, and I think everybody who's helping to move the needle in terms of learning is in this district as an educator. It's not just those in the classroom. We've got people who help with, as we referenced earlier, help to keep us safe. We've got people that help to make sure our facilities are ready for learning, people that make sure we're using our resources wisely. And our first strategic planning update is actually going to come from Mrs. Chelsea Aberdan, who's our Director of Finance and HR, and going to talk a little bit about our financial planning and our ASBR report, which is our annual Secretary of the Board report, as we look at our long-range financial planning and making sure that we're set up for success.
So we're going to go over the ASBR tonight. This is where we ended the 24-25 school year. We were projected to end our unrestricted balance at 14.9% at the beginning of the year. We did an amendment in February, and our projected unrestricted balance was 16.1%. And then we ended up actually ending the year with a projected restricted balance at 18.36%. So that's actually an increase over the prior year, which is good. Our Fund 1 ended the year at $6.1 million. Started at just over $6 million, so just a little bit of an increase there. Fund 2, of course, zero balance. We always end the school year at a zero balance in Fund 2. That's our teacher fund. Fund 3, we had starting year balance of 1.4 and ended the year at 1.5. So just a little bit of an increase there as well. Fund 4, we started at 2.6 in just Fund 4 alone, and we ended at 4.1 million. That is we were able to do a full Fund 4 transfer, which is a full 7%, which is around 1.2 million, is usually what it is every year. This year it was just over 1.2 million. And then Fund 5 is new. That is our bond monies. We just keep them separated in the back side, basically in our system, but they do roll into Fund 4 on the ASBR. But that started the year at 11.3 million. And then we ended the year about 7.3 million. On those bond monies, we earned just over 500,000 last year in our investment with that we have with MoCap. That's really good for us. That of course is going to help offset some costs with change orders and additional things with our bond projects. We ended our total fund balance at 19.2 million. And of course, you guys know what our operating levy was last year, 3.3439, and our debt service levy was 0.7761. On the ASBR, it will go through and it'll give you every little detail between what the revenues we received by object, by fund. It'll break it down in multiple different ways for you. You should all have a copy if you want to review it as well. Just a few key points I had wrote down was last year in revenue for MOQPK grant for ECLC, we got over $186,000. That's an increase in what we actually received from tuition. So that's more than we would have received for tuition. So that's awesome. On our lunch program, with our lunch and breakfast combined, we had just over $700,000. That's an increase as well over the previous year. When we break down the expenditure side, salaries, we had just over 20 million. And benefits, it was 5.7, so almost $6 million. Our purchase services, we ended the year at, where'd it go? Sorry, I got myself mixed up here. There it is. Purchase services, we ended the year at 4 million. So those are any type of service, travel, things like that for the district. Then supplies, we ended the year at, yes. Supplies was at 3.3 million for the district overall. And you can, when you go through this, you can break it down by building, you can break it down by just simple object codes as well. And then of course, in our capital outlay, we had just over 5 million as well. Do you guys have any questions for me on the ASBR?
I really like how you broke out that into the fifth fund for just to separate that or Fund 4 from the bond monies. So it's easier to see what we truly have in that Fund 4, and good job being able to make that full transfer this past year. That's a big
Yep.
thing that I know our school, we've all talked about, trying to put more money back into that for regular maintenance we're gonna have to have. So that's a big win to be able to do that.
Sure it is.
So if there's no other questions or comments, I do need to ask for your approval of the ASBR. It's just a standard operating procedure we have to do for every year.
Yes, so we need a motion to approve the ASBR as presented.
Make a motion.
Second.
Brian, who had that second?
Brad.
Brad? Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Very good. Thank you, Chelsea.
Thank you.
Just want to say a huge thank you to Chelsea and not just Chelsea, but the entire team. District is working together to obviously, we know at the end of the day, we've got to maximize the resources that we're given. And with funding being such a unstable state right now, moving forward, we want to make sure that we're making the most of what we have, and we put some things in place where really trying to plan ahead and look at our expenses in a way that's strategic and forecasting ahead as well, out 3 to 5 years, but also some mitigating practices in place for the now. And Chelsea has spent a lot of time sitting down with our building leaders and talking through our budgets and seeing where we can find efficiencies, and again, appreciate the leadership team talking through as we look at positions too over this past year. So we feel like we've made some really good strides during the 24-25 school year, and have set us up as we look ahead to be able to weather some of the financial storms that may be on the horizon for all of public education. So thanks for your work on that.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks, Chelsea.
All right, so next up, we have our academic update, and first board meeting sitting on this side of the table, our new Assistant Superintendent of Academics, Dr. Tim Garber. So, thank you, Dr. Garber. You have an update for us?
I do.
Anything happening?
Yeah, just a few things, a couple things I wanted to highlight. First of those for you guys is just some of the great work our teachers are doing in professional development, all the time and effort and energy they're investing during our teacher work days. So just a few of those things. We've had letters training. So going through this year in cohort 2, we have 25 teachers going through that training. And that's our literacy training, just really getting back to focusing on the science of reading And we just continue to hear such positive feedback about that training. So we're so fortunate to be able to send the number of teachers through that we have been able to as a district. Also, SAVIS training, which is our new resource at the middle school. So all of our middle school ELA teachers, SPED teachers, got to spend a day kind of unpacking that resource. There is going to be a follow-up opportunities kind of throughout the year, but just a good way to start that resource with those teachers. Also Read 180 training, which is our reading intervention resource. CPI training, which is crisis prevention and de-escalation. Parent Square, our new communication platform. IXL training, SPED training, conscious discipline training. So again, just a wide variety of opportunities our teachers have been engaged in. So all things that align to our CSIP and to our district priorities. So whether focusing on quality Tier 1 instruction, like letters and SAVIS would be, or some of our behavior and academic interventions, supports, effective communication. But again, all things that are aligned in our CSIP, and just a lot of great work. Testament to our teachers who are investing that time and energy in that training and things that are going to ultimately benefit our students. So a lot of good things happening in that area. Second update, and really it's a celebration, is this week. Our first day of school, our first week of school. It's been such a positive start to the year. So if you've been in the buildings at all, and just the excitement and the energy from students and teachers, especially on that first day. Kids are coming in, they're excited, our staff do such a great job of creating a positive, welcoming environment for students coming in. If some of them aren't quite sure where to go or a little nervous, they're taking great care of them. So it's just a great start to the year. There's so much that goes into the start of a school year. So all the open houses and planning and preparation, and not just from the buildings, not just from teachers and administrators, but all of our staff across the district. And so that really was a good celebration this week. Tuesday, great to have the kids back again, and it's been a really, really positive week. So huge celebration, and all that hard work is paying off. So big shout out to our staff. The last thing I was going to highlight is last night we had our first sub-training of the year, and great turnout. So we had 44 participants last night at our sub-training, which is, I think, almost a record turnout. And that is in addition to the 36 that we have signed up and ready to go, ready for the start of the year. So very excited about that. Our substitute teachers play a huge role in our schools. I mean, a vital role. And so we were very excited about that. We hope a lot of them continue on and finish out and are able to contribute and help out throughout the year, but it was a very positive sign. So really that training is just trying to help set them up for success. Some of them have subbed before, maybe in other districts. There's some that this is the first time they're stepping into a classroom. So if we can help set them up for success, some classroom management strategies, instructional strategies. We talk about best practices. We go over our emergency management and protocols. And the more that we can do to help set them up for success and have it be a positive experience for them and for our students, that's really what we're trying to achieve there. So it was a good turnout, very promising, and we'll do more trainings throughout the year as we get more signed up, and then another big one probably starting second semester. So, but just very thankful for a great start to the year.
Thank you, Dr. Garber. Any questions, comments? Okay. Then shifting gears to operations, our new executive director of operations, Mr. Mike Pitts. Again, both Dr. Garber and Mr. Pitts have jumped into new roles and appreciate their leadership. Mr. Pitts has a few updates to provide as well.
Right, I have 3 quick ones. Thank you. The first is about scheduling regular maintenance and having a regular scheduled maintenance report. We're working with a consultant to analyze things like Jeff has mentioned, HVAC, roofs, parking lots, so we can have a consistent budgeting rhythm for things like this. We can build them into our budget so we'll have a smoother flow and know what we've got. We're going to pay for these things anyway, so we need to do our best to pack them into the budget, and so we can start thinking and planning for them strategically. On Tuesday, a couple days ago, we received the first draft of this report from Verigy. We're reviewing that, and we are going through the report and identifying what is a critical must-have, all the way down to just things that we would like to have. So this is a very healthy process, and that is to say, understanding and managing our current obligations. Do you have any questions about that one before we move to number 2? Drew, you mentioned that. You mentioned the Fund 4 thing, so if we can pack this into the budget and understand what's coming, we can do a better job with the overall long-term financial planning. We'll move on to a software platform, and we'll talk about Lumen and moving to Infinite Campus. About a year ago, we began analyzing our current SIS, which is Lumen, and determined we would develop a district-wide team to talk about the pain points that we have working with Lumen and the possibility of moving to another system. The team was awesome. We identified some very, very strong pain points that we had with Lumen, and the bottom line, frankly, we're just too big for Lumen. We're too complex. We need to move to a system that can handle what we need and who we are. So the option that is in our price range and meets our needs that many of our neighboring districts use is Infinite Campus. Infinite Campus bought Tyler a few years ago. That's why we had to move from Tyler, or we would still be with them. So we decided if we did move to Infinite Campus, we would have two non-negotiable things that we would have to have. Number one, Infinite Campus must resolve all of the pain points that we had with Lumen. And number two, the onboarding process must be very intentional, with a long runway, extensive training with the right people in the room from the beginning, making strategic decisions. And we have all that with Infinite Campus. So we will go live with them in July of 2026 for the 26-27 school year. But we're going to begin a 6-month ramp up in January of 26. This will let us pre-register our students in Infinite Campus. It will give us, and Kevin and the great tech team, a chance to convert our data and also give us that good on-ramp training that we really need. Also, the move is strongly supported by that working group, a good cross-section of the great people in our district, and it's in line with what we pay now. Do you have any questions about Infinite Campus? The last thing I'd like to talk about is give you an update on some capital projects. I'll just go down the list, and then the last one, Dr. Method and I will share that together. The restroom and storage building at Liberator Park, it's moving along nicely. You probably saw the blue roof as you drive down Hartford. This week we completed all the piping for the restrooms, and we are almost finished with the HVAC system, and I'm happy to say this project is ahead of schedule, should be done in a few weeks. The new ag building is entering its final stages. We've got drywall work beginning this week, and substantial completion is still set for December of 2025. At BIS, BES, we have 3 different areas that are getting upgrades. They're all making good progress, including bathroom slabs, walls, and a roof will soon pop up on the section by BES, and it's on track for a February 26 completion. ECLC, it's funded a little differently than the others. I'll go ahead and mention the progress. Design work is underway now, and dirt work and demolition is scheduled to begin soon, and that substantial completion date is targeted for April of 26. I'd ask Braden to go ahead and pop up a slide of the project that Dr. Methvin mentioned earlier. We'd like to share an update on the old ag building. We have a lot of moving parts, as you just heard, and this gives us a chance to work strategically and explore cost-effective options for the old ag building. And we have 3 very, very important stakeholders that have an opportunity to have a good space in there. So that would be the wrestling program, our strength training program, and auto tech. And so Dr. Methvin and I have been working closely together on this, along with Jeff and Kevin, Chelsea, a few others, lots of different stakeholders. And I would just ask him to share his perspective and insight on what you see here on the screen.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. So we're at that point where obviously the interior of the existing ag building we knew we had 3 programs that we were working to support, and but we kind of were waiting to see where we were at from a budgetary standpoint before we determined what we could get done in that space. And so we're in a really good spot with our bond proceeds and current budget across all projects. And then obviously, as Chelsea mentioned earlier, we have $500,000 in earnings from interest on those bond proceeds as well. And so we are able to move forward with working with SAP Designs and Brandco. SAP's the architect that designed the new ag building, around what this would look like. And one of our main priorities is making sure we have the right square footage available to each of those 3 programs.
And another slide.
And if you want to, yeah, so this is, let's stay here for a moment. So this is the current interior. On the right side, you'll see our current strength and conditioning program is on the right side. In the middle top is our wrestling room space. It's got 1 full mat. And then in the middle bottom is currently our Air Force Junior ROTC program, which is relocating to within Bolivar High School. So that space is going to be available for us to take that entire middle section and have now 2 full wrestling mats available for practice within that center column. And then the left third is currently the ag building, and obviously they'll be moving to a new space. So as we switch to the next slide, you'll see what the movement looks like as we continue to plan for. And we just wanted to give you an update on some of this work that's happening. Obviously, Auto Tech moves into that right third column, which is the current weight training space. We have opened up the center space for 2 mats of wrestling practice, and in order to make that happen, we had to relocate some infrastructure, HVAC infrastructure, along with a restroom facility over to the west side. And so that relocates over to the west side, and we've also taken the classroom that was on the south part, the bottom of that third column on the left, and opened it up so that we're gaining about 700 square feet for our strength and conditioning program in the current ag space. We also have a lot of storage available for both the wrestling program and the football program to be able to take advantage of. And that's a pain point for us as well, is not having the right fit for storage from either of those programs. And so we're able to imagine that space a little bit and make sure that we've got the right square footage allocated to it. So obviously we looked at several different options and made sure we got all of the right players at the table, working closely with the high school team and as well as our new athletic director, and feel like we've got a good plan in place as we move forward. And again, we're in a good spot from where we're at with our bond proceeds and the budgets for those projects to be able to look. We're planning to this time next month come with a change order to add this to the current Brandco contract as we move forward. And this will be the last piece that they'll tackle once they wrap up, which right now the BIS restroom is the final piece to fall on the initial bond project. So it would come in after that, and obviously there's lots of moving pieces. We got to make sure we get people moved out in order for us to be able to start that next phase. But we're excited that we're able to bring this into the mix, and hope to this time next month be able to bring you a change order to wrap this into the Brandco work. Questions, thoughts? Yeah.
I have a question. So, because this was like an extra, like a hopefully we can do it type thing, do we have cushion in case the unexpected happens with the original bond projects that are currently going? Like, we're not using this cushion to do this, and like, what does that look like? Do we have, like, because things like that happen regularly,
Yeah.
so
This was already part of our budget to do some internal renovation.
Mm-hmm.
But we do have, again, we're good on budget at this point, and the fact that we've had such great returns, with our bond proceeds, with
Yeah.
those $500,000 of interest earned were not part of the original.
Right.
So we went from 11.2 million in proceeds that we received from the bond to 11.7 now, based upon the interest that we've earned. And this is, all things said, we're talking about 350, and we already had about 200 allocated to this prior to
Sure.
that. So that, we're in a good spot to be able to not only.
Provided there aren't any unexpected terrible things that we have to pay for that we didn't realize we were gonna have to pay for with the other projects that are already going.
Well,
These-
yeah, that's part of why we waited to this point, to be able, we feel like we're in a good spot.
Okay.
Most of the unforeseen.
Okay.
Like breaking the ground, doing the foundations, that's the biggest.
That's
That's-
why we
Yeah.
did that CMR, right? That we had that manager at risk with that gross maximum price.
Right.
So
We
unless
have,
a specific difference or change order, we kind of are guaranteed no more than this.
correct,
Okay.
yeah. And at this point in the
point.
project, we've got a December substantial completion date. We're past that point where we now feel comfortable moving forward, looking at this as that next option. Now,
Okay.
we've got another month also between now and when we would bring you a change order. And that's, we're getting that much closer to the finish line with those other projects at
Okay.
that point in time. So we're in a good spot, and this was something that obviously we held back,
Mhm.
waiting to see where we were gonna fall based on all the potential things that could go wrong and the unforeseens. And so this is gonna be something that we'll be able to get across the finish line.
And they're gonna keep the garage doors on the south end, I guess, the three? Or
Yes, on the north side, right?
North side, you're right.
Yep, those three garage doors will all stay there. Yeah. Part of this includes we're having to move some HVAC, that's currently over the east side of this with the current strength and conditioning. And the HVAC on the west side, there is no HVAC for like the open shop area, right? So we're having to relocate HVAC to the west side, where strength and conditioning will be relocated, and auto tech will be similar to the current ag shop, where they won't need that HVAC system in that open space.
I guess, have we collaborated, or will we be able to collaborate with our other coaches to make sure it meets the needs and everything? We see as well, or-
Wrestling
Yeah,
and.
wrestling and our weights,
Yes,
Coach Clardy.
that's been a big part of the discussion, and
Perfect.
I think we're excited
Is
about
that more space, that dash line, or kind of there at the bottom for more
Yeah,
weight
so
training area?
like the
than-
bottom left space you're talking about?
Yes, yeah, bottom left. yes,
Yeah,
sir.
so that's where there were a previous classroom space that will now be, that wall will be removed, and that'll open up, which allows, again, gains us about 700 square
Wow,
feet
that's
of
great.
space, and allow us to have a nice facility there that will obviously serve a lot of students
Yeah.
over the course of the year.
Awesome.
So. Any other questions on that? Again, this time next month, we hope to be able to bring a change order to finalize that and move forward and get it on the schedule.
Estimated maybe by next school year?
This
Not
piece
yet.
here, the timeline is obviously this is gonna be the last piece to
Yeah.
fall into place, once we've got everybody moved. But, yeah, we'd hope for the beginning of the school year.
Cool.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Pitts. And
Okay. You
that
talked a
wraps
lot about bond projects
We
in
did.
conjunction. Do you have more to add to that?
No, actually, Mr. Pitts kind of,
Did
as part of
he?
the capital projects, hit
Okay.
on bond projects, and then also hit on the ECLC
Okay.
expansion with the, and so I think we.
So we're ready to move on to some policy updates. Okay. So we have some policies for us to review for next month. I took the liberty to make some assigning of these. IGBI, that's in regard to homeschooling. We'll give that one to Brad. IGCD in regard to virtual courses. Brian, would you take that one for us, please?
IGCD.
IGCD, yes, sir.
Yep.
IGCDA, that's in regard to full-time MOCAP virtual courses. Jill, would you cover that one for us, please? IGD, district-sponsored extracurricular activities and groups. Drew, would you take that one, please? IGDAA, in regard to resident, participant, student involvement in activities and events. Dan, if you wouldn't mind taking that one. JFCD is student use of personal communication devices. Lynn, if you would take that one. And then BBA, I'll go ahead and take that one so we can review those and make any comments on that at our September board meeting. Okay. Any questions about that?
Cheryl, will you please send us a reminder on that?
All right. So moving on, next on our list is a policy review of BBF. This is school board member ethics. We can review this holistically, and anybody comment if they wish. I think we can get straight to the point that has been brought up to focus on, however, on it's got a list of 15 things, and there's been a question about really essentially one word, and I will read the number 15 and then point out the word. Express personal opinions, but once the board has acted, accept the will of the majority. There's been a question as to what does the word accept mean? Just what does accept mean? So that, unless somebody has other parts of this that they want to discuss, I think that's where the focus of the conversation could be. And I might add the following too. I think there's probably 3 options here on the table. One would be to do nothing, just leave it as is. 2 would be to remove it completely. When I say it, the whole line. Or 3 would be to add something else to help clarify what accept does and doesn't mean. I think that would, and if anyone has a 4th idea, please throw it out. But just trying to get us to focus on that. In my mind, logically, those are our 3 options at this point. So, any thoughts or conversation on?
Well, it'd be hard to define accept the will of the majority, so I'd say my vote would be just take it out if we don't like it.
The entire?
The line. 15.
Take the line out?
One thing I was looking at today, just knowing this is coming up or looking at our agenda and trying to review it all. Only thing I thought of was, again, it's hard to define accept, but just kind of maybe adding a line that says after that, this shall not prohibit dissenting board members from voicing their opinion on the ruling or agenda item. So, just a thought. You can still have their opinion on it, but of course the vote still stands.
Right.
And counts, but
You can't change the vote.
it doesn't prohibit their thought or their opinion even after the fact.
It states express personal opinions, so I think that we should be allowed to do that as a board member. I think we all have our own opinions, should be able to express them. But once the board has acted, when we voted and we've acted, then I think that we as a board should support that. So I think something still needs to be here. I don't know about the word accept. Maybe respect the will of the majority or something, but a different word other than accept. But I do
Stand
think
by.
that, yeah, I do think that we still need to be a united front. You can still disagree, and we can still do those in our sessions, absolutely. We should do that. But once a decision's been made, I think we should stand by that as a whole. I think that, to the public, presents a good view of our board, in my opinion.
I agree with Lynn.
I missed out on some of this, I'm sorry. Are
So
we on
we're-
BBF?
On BBF.
Okay.
So, I try, hypothetical situations can be beneficial and they can be so-so. I try to look at like more real scenarios. There's a scenario that's common in our culture and our society today that is in public schools, that I know if I was on a board that voted a certain way, and I felt, and I was against that, not only would not accept it, but I wouldn't stop advocating for the side that I felt was right. So I feel right now with this, I'm going to break this. I will break this policy if this board ever votes on something that I feel strongly against. And I'm trying to prevent that.
Well, what it comes
And
down to, Ron, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go
you,
ahead.
but really what it boils down to, and I wasn't here, you guys may have talked about it, is each of our First Amendment right. We have a right to dissent. That's given to us by the U.S. Constitution and the Missouri Constitution. And if there is a vote that is taken by the board that is contrary to our personal beliefs, to our ethical beliefs, whatever, and we want to voice our opposition to it, and you just gave a glimpse of an example, then we should have that right, and that's our First Amendment right. And we all took an oath to the Missouri Constitution and the U.S. Constitution to uphold it. And you can't take away a person's First Amendment right. You can't usurp that by a policy. That policy is wrong.
Wouldn't voting no be voicing your opinion? I mean,
My thing is, if I decide to vote no, I'm still gonna support the decision of this board.
Yeah, but what you're missing there, I think, Brian, is if an issue came before the board, which has happened, which would be contrary to everything that you hold near and dear, then you would definitely speak out against it.
Oh, yeah.
And what this is doing, what this policy does, is it precludes your right to do that. The board can use that policy and weaponize it against you, as has happened to a board member. And that's what I think Ron's trying to get at, to prevent.
it says you can express your personal opinion. But once the board votes, and if the majority of the board votes, and it happens to go against your personal opinion that you have already expressed, this is saying you agree, you've expressed your opinion, everyone knows you do not agree with what's being voted on, you have voted no, the majority has voted yes, that should be the end of it. The public is aware that you don't feel that way, the public is aware that you voted no, you can stand on that, but we are a board. Like, that's,
Okay, Jillian, I'm gonna give you a clear example of what exactly he's talking about. And that is, and I think everybody here should hear it too, but that is not this board. I'm not talking about this board, but let's say another board of this body would vote to allow transgender men to go into women's bathrooms, play in women's sports. Let's say we have a different administration, we have a different board. That right to dissent and speak out publicly that you disagree with that policy should not be taken away from you. That is your First Amendment right.
they're not taking it away.
They are taking it away from you.
They're not, it specifically
There's nothing in
states,
there that says
you
It
can
says you cannot
express.
speak out against it.
No, it
Once the
doesn't.
board
It's-
has taken an
it says
action,
but.
you cannot speak out against it.
You can accept the will of, you have to accept
You have
the
to
will, you have
accept
to
the will.
accept it, you can't fight against it, you can't say, even though the board voted yes to allow this, I'm still going to say it's not, like, they're not asking you to change your opinion.
No, but they're saying from that point on, you have to remain silent.
No, that doesn't say that.
No,
I
no,
don't get that from that
That's the
statement.
confusing part. Like,
That's where it's confusing.
That's where the
Right.
Yeah,
confusion
that's why
lies.
it's
There's a difference
confusing.
Well, somebody cleared up for me because that was
Clarification.
used against me, so
That's
clear
what
Yeah.
that
was
up for me.
against, what the last board
So
was against.
to me, I like it, it's the same thing, is you go vote in the election, you don't, that person you elected, you don't agree with anything they do. but that person is still either the president of your country or the governor of your state. I can still speak my opinion on it from the day until the next vote comes up. And I'm not gonna hold that against anybody, period.
Right.
So I think we still need to keep something in there.
Yeah, but it's
we need
already
to
in
figure
there, it's
out the
already,
wording.
I mean, it's already in our training, I don't know where else
Right.
it's in, but, I mean, we already know when the
Well, we went
majority.
through
So
yeah.
what I,
Training.
here's what I
That's what I'm
think
saying,
I,
we can just take it up, because we already know when the majority votes, we know
Yeah.
that that's the way it is, and,
We know,
Yeah.
but I'm talking about a future board,
yeah.
because this was used by another board.
That's what I'm saying, just take the line out. is my
Yeah.
vote.
Yeah.
so take
What
it out
could happen if you take
or
it out
add
completely?
to it. And those are a couple of options.
I don't have it in front of me. Read how it reads now, Ron.
Express personal opinions, but once the board has acted, accept the will of the majority. Drew has just a potential addition, something that caveat you might add to that. You want to read that again,
Yeah,
Drew?
so I guess I'll reread the part that it keeps, but express personal opinions, but once the board has acted, accept the will of the majority. This shall not prohibit dissenting board members from voicing their opinion on the ruling/agenda item. So that way it just clarifies that they can still.
clarifies
It gives
they can still-
clarification.
Still voice
So
their
you can
opinion.
add that to it.
The vote is the vote, it's happened, there's no
Right.
change in that,
Right.
unless you revote,
Right.
Yeah.
But
right?
It doesn't
Yeah.
prohibit them to voice their opinion to, as you mentioned in the election, yeah, it doesn't change who the
It doesn't
president
silence
is,
you.
who the governor is, whatever
Exactly.
else.
Right.
They can still, it just clarifies that just in that instance, they're not silenced like in that. They could still do everything they could that the next election or next time it comes up that, if they saw fit differently.
Right.
So yeah, just trying to
Agreed,
clarify that word
100%.
accept. Yep.
I think Drew kind of has
Yeah.
a suggestion on the table that I think I'm getting a sense that most people are kind of, I feel rather comfortable with that. Are we?
Read it one
Now-
more time.
What do you think
Read it
about it,
one more
Mike?
time.
I think it would take a motion of the board to put something on the table for a vote as to whether we want to amend the
Yeah.
policy. And then you'd have further discussion. If you're ready to vote, take a vote. You'd have to.
Jillian wants me to reread it, so I'll reread it, and I'll just read the whole thing. So, express personal opinions, but once the board has acted, accept the will of the majority. This shall not prohibit dissenting board members from voicing their opinion on the ruling/agenda item.
I mean, I don't care if that's in there. That's basically what I thought it
Yeah.
meant anyway.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
just
I
trying
don't-
to define
It is, I
more
think.
precisely, maybe.
Yeah, a little more detail, yeah.
Yeah,
I like that addition.
rather than being vague.
I move that we accept Drew's recommendation on adding the sentence to
second
the
it.
policy.
So, Dr. Methvin, we're going to consult you here. We probably need to run this by our school attorney, or policy. So would the motion be to take Drew's suggestion and run it by them, and and have you do, the motion be to have you do that, and then you bring legal verbiage, a recommendation at the next meeting, so that verbiage piece is
You're giving.
in line?
We're agreeing on, based upon board vote, a recommendation to take to MSBA for legal counsel to review. And then if they'll send back feedback, or as is, they'll send it back, and then you'd have another opportunity to connect. If they send it back untouched, then at that point in time, you would be able to vote to approve.
That gives everybody time to see it too, instead of just me reading it, so that way they can have a whole month to look at it, read it.
I like you
make
reading it to me
recommend-
5 times.
Okay, so do I need to amend my motion?
Yes.
I can amend my motion.
Yes,
that
let's
we
have
take
you amend it to.
I amend the motion that we take that recommendation to the MSBA board.
And I still second it.
Okay, so Lynn and Brian, any further discussion?
I like it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay.
Should
Motion
Drew read
carried.
it one more time?
All right.
What was the teacher that got you excited about reading?
Yeah.
Voice
I know.
record it, yeah,
That's
send it to her.
Who was the teacher that got you excited about reading? There you go.
I want you to narrate my Colleen Hoover books for me.
Okay,
I don't think you'll.
we have one more policy to discuss. So recently, public comment portion of the board meeting, historically, public comment portion of the meeting had been at the beginning, and a couple years ago got moved to the end of the meeting, and we moved it back to the beginning a couple months back. Our current policy states that public comment shall be limited to items that are on that month's agenda. Okay? Under consideration for us to begin a conversation about would be, do we want to extend that further to allow public comments without the limitation of the topic being on that month's agenda? And that's the consideration to make. It happens to be Board Policy BDDH-1. Now, we don't have to have a conversation about that right now. That can just be put on the table, and over this month, you think about it, consider the pros and cons, ask questions, etc. We can have a small amount of conversation about it now if anyone so chooses. But I think for those who have discussed this, the focus behind it would be wanting our public to know that we are here to listen. However, there are reasons why it is the way it is currently, and wanting to maintain adherence to our agenda, and that can take you down a different pathway. So I think a person could summarize saying, hey, there's pros and cons to this, but it's certainly worthy of our discussion, I think, for our public.
I think you bring up a good point. Probably the thing that comes to my mind would be if there was an issue that arose after the agenda was set, that was pertinent, and that they perhaps brought to Mike, and Mike talked to you about it, and you thought, yeah, that'd be all right. I can see that.
Now, keep in mind, we have two avenues here. This is what we're talking about is just our regular public comments. We have another piece, a policy that the public can follow to speak to the superintendent to request for an item to be placed on the agenda. That piece is not what we're talking. That we're comfortable with that piece. Anyone from the public can come to our superintendent and say, hey, would you be able to? It doesn't mean it will, but we have a procedure for that to follow. We're just talking about, you know how at the beginning I usually say, do we have any public comments? And normally we don't. A couple months ago we did, and I delivered the news to the individual. I said, I'm sorry, your topic is not on this month's agenda. Okay? And that was appropriate to do. That was our policy. That's the piece we're talking about here, just the public comment section. Because right now it is restricted to, it needs to be something on our agenda, or the board president is supposed to say, I'm sorry, that's not, available for discussion this evening.
I would just submit that, if you opened it up to just anything, then, you are putting yourself at risk of just anything coming up. And what maybe, one could do is if somebody came to the meeting and wanted to have something to say, is the two of you say, well, let's step out, let's discuss what you want to talk about, and then if you feel it's appropriate, but instead of just allowing them to come up and just open up about anything.
I guess, the previous two, or I've only been part of two, board retreats where we talk about the upcoming school year and things, and I believe it was last year, we talked about wanting more community involvement, more transparency, and that's when we moved the public comment back to the front to try and advocate for more public discussion. And I think this is another way of that, saying, you know, we want to hear from our public. We want to hear if you have something that you feel is important. You know, of course, in this setting, absolutely cannot bring up any individuals, whether that's a staff or students, and that's going to remain the same. But it just brings up any, if you feel like you have a concern for the district that you want us to hear, then we're here to listen. And I think it opens it up for more transparency and more involvement from our community. So I'd be in favor in considering amending that policy, not necessarily tonight, but just to think about it for the next month and the pros and cons and everything.
I think the optics of the way we do it now could possibly, like, to the community, be viewed as though we're like filtering.
Yeah.
Or restricting.
And
Yep.
I don't think that's a good look. I understand why we do it, and I get the pros and cons, but I agree with Drew. I think it looks like we have something to hide, or we're not ready to address things, and, you know, like, I just don't think it's a good look all the time, but it would definitely have to be monitored for those.
Well, there's still
You know,
guidelines on
names.
those.
Right,
Like,
but
if
we
they
can't
do-
control what comes out of their mouth as they're standing in here. We'd have, like, once it
Well,
happens,
if
there's
they-
not
if
like
they
a
mention-
5-second
if they
delay,
mention
you know?
A person's name or safety, there's a few things that we can say, hey, stop, we can't.
Right, and then we
But-
would stop them,
yeah.
but it would already have been done, is what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like,
Right.
those things are things that we just wouldn't be able to control till after it happened, and then they're escorted out or whatever. But, I mean, I don't foresee, like, I don't think that's the reason why we don't get a lot of public comments either. I don't foresee this, we're like opening the floodgates to this. I think it's a good gesture. I think we should do it
I
and
agree.
just deal with it on a month-to-month basis.
Makes it more approachable and less hoops to jump through.
Yeah.
Yep.
To be heard.
If it's okay with the group, I would recommend that each of us kind of does our own continued thought on this, and next month we come back and formalize a decision whether to leave it the same or to change it. That way, any other thoughts, things that come up that maybe weren't discussed tonight, scenarios you might want to kind of role play, you know, and figure out. Usually that's a good way to land on the most sure decision in your own mind of what way we should go in this. Is everybody in favor of considering it over the month and coming to a conclusion next month? Are we good with that?
Yeah.
Everybody? Okay. Very good. All right. Good discussion. I think we're up to a new portion of our meeting. It's called the superintendent's update.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're gonna just kind of give a quick update from the superintendent, and obviously, thanks to our board for some great discussion tonight. As we kick off a new school year, it has been a fantastic start to the school year. Going back to our kickoff with staff, as they returned back to the district and prepared for a new school year. We had a fantastic morning with our team at Bolivar High School in the auditorium, and just great energy and enthusiasm for a new year. And appreciate the great support we had from our board members.
Did Coach Bayless show up? I can't
I think
remember.
he was there.
Was he there?
Yes.
I don't-
He made his presence
I don't know if
felt.
he was there or not.
Absolutely. Our reigning master teacher of the year. And we also had 9 new teachers that we introduced new to the district as well. And as Dr. Garber mentioned, just a great first 3 days of the school year as well. Just wonderful energy in the buildings, and thanks to everybody for helping us to get off to such a great start. Lots to celebrate. You know, as we head into this school year, we have 3 familiar priorities as we, as a team, work to focus on just how we operate as a professional learning community, and really being kind of working towards the power of the group and how we work together as a team. Very collaborative culture, and really with a couple of things focused around Tier 1 instruction, and Dr. Garber mentioned a lot of professional development around Tier 1 instruction. We know the importance of making sure that our first instruction is our best, and that every student gets that quality first instruction. And then our third priority around positive and safe learning environments. So just thanks to our team for helping to make that a priority and investing in making sure that students have a place where they want to be every day and where they feel safe. And not just physically safe, but emotionally, and that they feel cared for. And it's okay to learn and try new things and to fail and to take risks and as we try and step outside of our comfort zone. So thanks to our team for helping to create a culture where that's how we operate. That's what Liberators do. Making some great headway as we continue to focus on making sure that from a long-term sustainability, we have the resources to set our staff up for success. That's going to continue to be a focus for us as we move forward. Appreciate all the openness to being transparent around here's where we're at, here's what's next for us, and our team has just kind of locked arms and said, okay, let's figure this out together, and appreciate the teamwork. And obviously at the end of the year, we finished with an operating reserve that was above where we started the year, and that's the first time that's happened in 4 years. And that was without ESSER money being infused into our budget. And so just a huge kudos to our team for taking on that challenge. And then obviously as we head into this new school year, I just go back to the new students starting the school year for the first time, over 200 new kindergartners, and talk about trying something new. You know, the BPS and ECLC both took on the challenge. Let's have a preview day for our kindergartners. Get their parents in the building. Get them on a bus, and they rode the bus together. And we got some great footage of them getting off the bus for the first time with their parents.
Have we ever done that before?
That's a
Great
first.
idea.
That's a great idea.
It came from Mr. Shawless.
Fantastic idea. I love it.
That's one of the
Isn't
things.
that great?
Yeah. That's how we learn from each other. And when we hire new people into the district,
They bring good new
come,
ideas.
Come make us better.
Jennifer, you're on the hot seat now. You got to bring the next one.
She's already done it. She's already doing it.
Yeah, that's a cool idea.
So super excited, lots to celebrate, you know, and as we continue from kindergarten, we're going to continue to move with an eye towards making sure our students graduate from Bolivar High School to college and career ready. And we're working to build partnerships, build upon current partnerships and strengthen them. Obviously the work that's happening around OTC and the Early Childhood Center, that's going to create a chance for students to leave Bolivar High School well on their way towards their associate's degree in early childhood education, and is a great recruitment tool for us as a district. Also, we're working with CMH on expanding our partnerships there around additional opportunities for health occupations, and look forward to having some more to share in the near future as we continue to seek those partnerships with CMH. And then SBU, you know, we're talking with SBU about potential for cybersecurity options for our students. And those are 3 fields: education, healthcare, cybersecurity, technology. Those are three fields that, even in this age of artificial intelligence, and we know things are changing so fast, that are going to be in high demand, and we're helping to set our students up for success there. So lots to be thankful for, and proud of the work our team has done as we head into this new school year. Last couple of things to share. You know, with the new legislation, SB 68 had some revision to the expectations around calendar. We know that we were working towards getting to that 169-day requirement in order to receive the 1% additional funding, and part of that meant we had to use AMI days in order to make sure that snow days didn't knock us down below 169. Well, the new legislation, we have got confirmation now that those inclement weather days are exempt from needing to make up those days. And so that means, this will be great news to our staff, who is, you know, obviously this is going to be a change for us, but AMI days will not be needed in order to keep our 169 days. We've approved a 169-day calendar, and if inclement weather causes us to go below, that won't knock us out of receiving the extra 1% funding.
How about that?
So that's a nice celebration to share with staff
Usually those kind of messages are opposite, aren't they? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I got bad news on this. That's
Yeah.
great.
We'll lead the board update with that one.
Give
when
us
we send
more
it
of
out to
this.
staff, so
Yeah.
there you go. Also, celebration that we've yet to I want to, when we talk about great teachers, great educators, I want to give a shout out to board member Dr. Lynn Coffey, who this summer was recognized as FBLA Advisor Hall of Fame member. And one of
Yes.
one of
Our very
only
own.
25 FBLA advisors from Missouri that have ever been inducted into the Hall of Fame at the national level.
We're gonna have a bust reveal next month, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Reveal the bust and,
So,
yeah.
pretty cool accomplishment.
The artist
And,
is still putting the finishing
that's
touches
right,
on it.
That's right. It's being worked on. And then lastly, a couple of upcoming dates, just to
That's where he said last.
be aware of. Next week, we kind of spotlighted our Air Force JROTC. They will be presenting the colors as Congressman Mark Alford hosts a bipartisan town hall meeting at SBU at the Meyer Center. That's on next Monday at 7 p.m. in the Meyer Center. So at SBU, that's covered by C-SPAN, and it's kind of a big deal, a chance for
That
to
is
showcase our ROTC students. And then the very next day on the 26th, high schools has their academic recognition banquet, honoring those students and their learning celebrations from the spring semester of last year. And that's Tuesday at 6:30, dinner provided, and if you're able to make it, we'd love to feed you. So that's all I
Very
got.
good.
Thanks for a great start.
Very good. Good. All right, 3 votes and we're out of here, folks. Under action items, a motion to approve the school tax rate as presented.
So moved. Oh,
I got Dan first with Brad on the second. Any further discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries.
Good job, Dan.
Second, motion to approve the transportation route approval.
Second.
Drew? Brad, you were the second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Last, we have our policies from last month. So very quickly, I will just say, is there any policy that any of you reviewed that you would like to have further discussion or pull out? And
This will be quick. Everything's great. The one area that I'm.
remind us which policy first.
This is the first one that's listed, ECA 2.
ECA 2, this is on building and ground security.
Mike, take a look where it says school protection officers, and then read that paragraph underneath that. So the way that reads, you couldn't interpret that, and I'm sure you wouldn't interpret that, but you couldn't interpret that as saying you have, I mean, we've already had a general agreement that we're going to do this. This is almost like we're starting over again. So we're gonna have another public hearing if we decided to add more. Do we have to have another public hearing to add more, because we've already decided to do this?
If we've already gone through the process of holding a public hearing and have met the
Which we have.
the statutory requirements
Yeah,
in order to move forward with an SPO program,
yeah.
then the language that just reflects the statutory requirements,
Okay.
we would have already met
Okay.
those,
I'm good.
those expectations.
You're good then?
I'm good.
Okay, anybody else on any of theirs? Okay, so a motion to approve MSBA 2025 policy updates as they were presented to you.
So moved.
Second.
Lynn, Brian on the second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Dan and I think Brad, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you all for coming. Have a great